Good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Vimalananth from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Now I am going to take a lecture topic is about comparison between the Otto cycle as well as diesel cycle. So while compared with between the Otto cycle and diesel cycle, the cyclic process was similar when compared for Otto as well as diesel. But in terms of name replacement, the Otto cycle can be also called as a constant volume process. The diesel cycle can be said as a constant pressure process. Why the name difference means? Because in terms of Otto cycle, there is a constant volume process take place during the sucks after the at the compression stroke. Diesel cycle, there will be a constant pressure process take place during the compression process. The major difference in the process in terms suctions, in terms of in Otto cycle, only the atmospheric air will be sucked during the suction process. Then in the diesel cycle, after that, in the compression process, the air will be compressed. At the terminal of the compression process, there will be a fuel injected to the fuel injector in the combustion chamber. So the atomization and vaporization of the fuel particles will be take place inside the combustion chamber. So the power stroke will be generated. After the generation of the power stroke, there will be a exhaust stroke. The exhaust stroke, the unburned hydrocarbons and the exhaust emissions will be wind up toward the exhaust port. In terms of Otto cycle, the fuel air mixture will be enters into the combustion chamber. That fuel will be compressed in the compression chamber. After that, with the help of the spark plug, it will be ignited. So it tends to make an power stroke. After the power stroke, it make an exhaust the unburned hydrocarbons to the exhaust port. These are the process we will compare with the Otto cycle as well as the diesel cycle. The component difference for Otto and diesel means, in terms of Otto cycle, there will be a spark plug. It tends to ignite the air fuel mixer. In terms of diesel cycle, there will be a fuel injector. It tends to inject the fuel in terms of vaporized and as well as in atomization state. In terms of when compared with the compression ratio for Otto cycle as well as diesel cycle, compression ratio for Otto cycle will be around 8 to 14. 14:1 ratio. In terms of diesel cycle, the compression ratio will be 4 to 25:1 ratio. So, in terms of efficiency basis, the Otto cycle has an efficiency up to 25 to 30% of efficiency. In terms of diesel cycle, there has an efficiency from 30% to 50% of efficiency. In terms of knocking in Otto cycle, it attained a knocking before the peak pressure range. In terms of diesel cycle, obtained a knocking after the peak pressure range. Why? Because of in terms of Otto cycle, the spark ignition will be take place in the motoring curve itself. So the Otto knocking occurs before the peak pressure. In terms of diesel cycle, knocking occurs after the peak pressure. Why? Because of there is an injection of fuel take place in the combustion chamber. While compared to this, main drawback for Otto cycle as well as the diesel cycle means, in terms of Otto cycle, the fuel air mixture it should be mixed. If it is not properly mixed inside the carburetor means, it will cause us to knocking certain things like structure. In terms of diesel cycle, there will be air blocks as well as certain blocks will be there in the injector if it is not properly maintained. Then compared with the Otto cycle as well as diesel cycle, the size of an Otto cycle will be lesser when compared to the diesel cycle. While compared to the maintenance for diesel as well as Otto will be, Otto cycle has a less maintenance purpose when compared to diesel, but the diesel cycle has a more expensive in terms of maintenance process. In terms of combustion chamber area, the Otto cycle has less combustion space. Why? Because of due to the lower compression ratio. In terms of diesel cycle has a high compression ratio, so it occupies a more combustion chamber area. These are the difference between the Otto cycle as well as diesel cycle. I would thank to all.